our concept is that we're a community first and a company second. That we're a community that just happens to be organized in the form of a company. And we believe that, that a community can be a church, a community can be a family, community can be best friends, community can be a basketball team. The attributes of a community are that people feel a sense of shared responsibility, a sense of implied trust with each other, a sense of stewardship. That's a community. You can have one church that is a community and another church that's not a community. Intentionality rules. This is a very big deal. No matter how articulate you are, how charismatic you are, how smart you are, people can smell your intention. Right? They can. They can smell it. And if they, and despite all your intelligence, whatever else, if they smell more about you and your future and or your bonus than you are about the organization or them, then they're not going to cut you a lot of slack in how you behave. On the other hand, you can be pretty inarticulate. You can be of average intelligence. But it's very clear to everyone that your intention is to be a good teammate. You love the mission. You care about the values. They will cut you amazing slack as a leader. So intentionality rules, and people can smell it invariably. Next. Let the people speak. Yeah, there's a lot of organizations, yeah, they have a very sensitive about saying this in the room where I've been speaking for 50 minutes. But you want to find out about your organization's values, let the people speak. Let the people, not you, talk about your belief in the matter, but let the people and have open conversation. And I tell you, there's nothing better for, again, finding out where the perceptions are, where they, well, I'm not so sure we're living the mission here. And also, there's nothing better when I have one 39-year-old single mom nurse who says, Davita is violating the core value team because of this policy and this policy. And I can respond to that, but it's not nearly as good as another 39-year-old single mom nurse to stand up and say, I actually have exactly the opposite experience. Then I actually think we do live our values and this and that. That's when the people who are questioning the values find out from other people whom they respect and trust because they're peers, believe in the values. That's what changes the conversation, not to have another VP get up and give another speech. So let the people speak. That's how you will learn. That's how they will learn. And in the end, the job of a leader is not to create followers. The job of a leader is to create other leaders. The challenge of core values is not belief, it's practice. Right? Practicing the core values all the time, that's what's hard, especially when times are tough. Creating an environment where other people feel secure enough to practice the core values, to live the core values, that's what's hard, not believing. Practicing is hard. Creating an environment that's conducive to practice is hard. And what we always say, not violating a value does not equal living it. So if I go a month without telling a lie, I'm not living the core value of integrity. All right? That's just avoiding a grotesque violation. I'm living the core value of integrity when I tell the truth when no one was even asking me the question, and it's embarrassing for me. I'm living the core value of accountability when someone else makes a mistake, and I step up when no one was even thinking I was involved and say, you know what, I actually knew that he was new and not so good at that, and I should have pulled him aside last week and helped coach him. So I'm also accountable for that. That's when you're living the core value of accountability. That's when other people look at it and say that core value is singing, and I'm going to now behave better. I can also give you a take-home tip. There's a really good way to take care of your red rankings, the low rankings, the bad ones. You find out who gave them to you, and you fire them. And then that's fun. And now, I hasten to add, that's a joke. I don't want anyone saying that that's true. In every single performance review, if one of you worked for me, I'd first write the most important message, which is usually a paragraph. And then the second section, for everybody that works for me, we go through each component of the mission and the core values. And I talk about how I experience that person or how I think the team experiences that person with respect to the core values. Now this makes some people very uncomfortable. Just wait, you're going to talk about my integrity? You're going to talk about whether or not I believe in team? You're going to talk about whether or not I believe in service excellence? Come on. And again, this gets back to belief versus practice. And it also gets back to, well, I'm not a low integrity person. But some people experience you that way. So it's very important when you talk about these things, you don't say, you are this way. Say, no, I experience you this way. Could be me. But if 6 of us experience it that way, still may be wrong, but you need to know that that's the sense people have. And so what we say is, if you really believe in values, well, how in the hell can you show that they're important unless you talk about them? You know what I mean? And in real life, like it's how you treated me today in this meeting, or what budget did you give, or what do you tell the people you're doing fundraising from? You know, real life. The Village Night of Honor.
This is for everyone back in Napa. Without all of them, this wouldn't be possible. One for all and all for one.
I'm true blue Davita. My husband said when we turned our bedroom to blue and yellow that I kind of gone a little over the top.
I'll definitely hang this proudly in my facility. Thank you.
After having been in dialysis for 28 years, we've truly found a home and a family with Davita.
Thank you, Davita, for being the kind of company that allows me to grow both personally and professionally.
At the help desk, we don't have a way of touching the patients. We have to do that for you guys. And the least I can do is thank everybody in this room that does that.
And I'm so proud to now be a part of Davita. I've never ever experienced anything like this. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
So every year, about January, February, we ask for nominations for Core Value Awards. And so before we start talking about, if you're 4,000 managers from across the country at our annual meeting, before we start talking about what we want you to do better next year, we talk first about what we did wrong the prior year and what we are going to try to do better next year. We also take time almost every year and just stop a meeting and say, okay, everybody, pull out a piece of paper, grade yourself on the mission and values. You, and grade how you would grade your behavior and how you think those around you would grade your behavior. And this is actually quite intense. And so we do business, and we're very serious about our business and our shareholders. But we're not about business, we're about life, starting with the lives of our teammates. And if we give them gifts, they will give gifts to their family, their communities, and our patients that they otherwise couldn't give. So finally, this, and then I'll get into this, some leadership talks, that the bridge is sacred in Davita. After about 18 months where we had some serious momentum with this concept of a village and a tribe, but we wanted to make it more conclusive, more defined. And so for the first time ever, we had a second national meeting. We brought, and at that point maybe it was 1,200, 1,300 people together, and we unveiled the concept of the bridge. I walk over the bridge every day before I walk into my office. And you'll see bridges spread throughout the building. We can't afford having them at each clinic. But, and what we ask, if one of you came to work here, and then 6 months later you'd go to an academy, that 2-day thing, at the end of the academy, or at the end of town halls, I or someone else would say, okay, spend a certain amount of time getting information about us, how we make decisions, how we behave. And then after 6 months, 9 months, whatever's the right amount of time for you, when you think you know enough, stand in front of the bridge, either physically if you're in a major neighborhood, or metaphorically if you're out in a clinic that doesn't have an actual one. But stand in front of the bridge and decide if you're going to walk across it. Yes or no. No tweener thing, no quality. Are you walking across the bridge or not? If you walk across the bridge, you've decided that you are a teammate or a citizen of the village, not an employee. One of the things we do to reinforce the concepts is we talk about our trilogy of care. Caring for our patients, of course, not just clinically, but also with compassion and friendliness. Caring for each other with the same intensity with which we care for our patients. It's not secondary, it's equal. And then caring for our world. Are we good citizens of the planet? And I was raised in a small town in Wisconsin. That's how it worked. Everybody, a tragedy struck, community was there. We got lots of teammates. There's no such safety net for them. Bad shit happens. Their life is majorly at risk, and the well-being of their family. So we said, okay, we can become that safety net virtually, because at 3,000 centers, not everyone has a tragedy, and when they have one, there's only 20 people working there, and so it's not enough in many cases. But if we're a true community with 3,000 neighborhoods, but they're all linked, and so we've now given away, I think, over about $3 million. That the Davita Village Network means when tragedy strikes, you can apply. Hundreds of families have benefited from this. I'm going to just read you one letter from a woman named Katrina, a teammate up in Pennsylvania. and a 4-year-old daughter who suffered from a grand mal seizure. Any clinician, it's a serious thing. And she needed help because even though she had health insurance, the medical bills were going up. And the local team raised $1,700 for her. And then the Davita Village Network, people that had never met Katrina and the company matched it, put another $8,700 there. Saved the life of this family as we've saved the lives of hundreds of other families through this program. And she wrote this note. And it was addressed to the Davita Village. So again, there's no doubt in these people's minds that we're a village now. That's who they write to. I came to work this morning with a lingering worry in my heart. Ever since my daughter Emma has been in the hospital, I've been afraid. Afraid of it happening again to her. There's a 50% chance of her having more seizures. Afraid of how I will provide for her financially with the hospital bills calling my name from the devastating night. Afraid if I will make it. I have really tried to stay positive throughout all this, but some days it is hard. During our weekly homeroom, my manager presented me with your Davita Village Network grant and letter. I cannot even begin to tell you how this has affected me today. Not only did I feel a huge relief from the recent pressures, but I have a feeling of family and love. A feeling of a village that will stop at nothing to help another person in their time of need. Never in my life have I experienced anything to make me feel this special. So from here on out, my day has a different outlook. My heart feels calmness. I feel calm simply because it has been proven to me this morning that the human soul is one of the most powerful forces in making good things happen. Thank you, Davita, for showing me the true meaning of team, one for all and all for one. So we have all sorts of notes like this because the village was real, the village was there. The KT Family Foundation is a scholarship foundation for kids and grandkids that my wife and I fund, because if you're a village, you invest in kids and education. That's what communities do. So that's what we do. There's a Davita Children's Foundation that gives scholarships for kids in high school and for college, and then ours is for younger kids. Because we believe, if you believe in the concept of community, you cannot just take care of your own, because no community can survive in isolation. So by definition, if you believe in the concept of community, you have to help other communities at the same time, not just yourself.
Most of the things that you say resonate with me. Yes, this is more like for the community. One thing you talk about is the community, and that's how we are as Africans. Now, most of us are citizens of the United States, and we live now in an environment where it's not that inclusive as it should be. There's a lot of fear out there in the community. If you had any advice for us as community leaders, with thousands of people from the African continent here in the United States, what advice would you have for us to overcome that fear and come together as a community with the village concept to achieve most of the dreams that we have in this country?
Wow. You know, what we always say is that dreams can come true, but they can never come true unless you maintain your belief and unless you work really hard. And so I guess the only other thing I'd say is no matter how hard it's been, you know, I never thought I would have the job I have in the place I have and have the impact we have. Yeah, this is my dream. I never really thought it would happen. So I'm living my dream and feel very blessed by that. But I never did. I got close a couple times giving up, but I never did give up. So I guess that would be my other encouragement, no matter how hard it's been. Giving up your dreams is...
Since you touch your heart and mind, we will take a picture together just to say goodbye.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.